everybody and welcome to our Trouser Masterclass with Nas. In today's class we'll be looking at how to take a proper trouser measurement for a female. So first thing first, we're going to start is the waist measurement. If you look closely, most women wear high waist trousers, so we're taking a high waist measurement as our first measurement. Then afterward, we'll take the low waist measurement. Remember, the high waist is also what you call the false waist. This is our natural waistline, but because what's trending now is that we use more of high waist trousers. That's why we need to take the high waist. Now, having taken the low waist trousers, the low waist of the trousers, we'll proceed to measure for the laps. Remember, it is very wrong to take your laps measurement this way. The most appropriate way is this. This is the most appropriate way to take the laps measurement for a trouser, be it for a man or for a woman. Then, next thing we want to do is take the knee measurement. Whatever you do, there should be a little room for ease. Because if it's too tight, that's where you get to experience that problem of the trousers tearing at the middle part because the tension around the area is too much. With that being understood, we go ahead to measure the calf. Now, some persons don't know it as a calf. They call it yam, but at least the most appropriate word is the calf. So we take the calf region to avoid that situation whereby the trousers is too tight on this area. The only instances we could allow that happen is when we're doing stretchy clothes. Then we take the leg rounding. It is always very appropriate to take a leg rounding that can go out comfortably from the client's leg. Some persons measure this way. So whatever you're taking as your leg rounding should be enough to come out of the client's leg, except for situations where you want to use waterproof or you have a zipper at the side that would allow you to take the trousers out. We'll go ahead to take the hip measurements. Now, look at how I positioned my tape. It accommodates both the fullness at the butt and the hips on the side, so that it doesn't get too big here or too tight here and too free here. So your tape has to be a little bit diagonal to allow you capture the whole measurement. Then we now proceed to the trouser length. Please ensure that your client is standing erect. Your client should not tilt to one side or bend. Your client should always stand erect when you want to take a trouser measurement. Now, from where our trousers is going to start, we keep our tape there, then we go all the way down to where the length would stop. Then in the process of doing that, also take consideration of the high waist to the knee point, which would allow you know where to fix your knee measurement, and also your high waist to the calf point, which would also allow you know where to impute your calf measurements. With that being understood, we now go to one of the most important things, which is also one of the easiest causes of you spoiling your trousers, especially when it's a female trousers, which is the crotch region. Some persons call it the flap, but the most appropriate word is the crotch region. So now what I do is that I measure my front crouch and back crouch, bearing in mind that the front crouch and the back crouch can never be the same. The back crouch is usually fuller than the front crouch because of the fullness of the butt. So now what do? You keep your tape at the point where your client wears his or her trousers, and you measure all the way in. For this person, I have 12 as the front crouch. Now you proceed to the back, keeping your tape at where the trousers also sits behind. You measure all the way. Now notice something, the fullness of the butt would now increase the distance to the inseam area. So now we had 12 in front, but look at what's going to happen now. In the process of measuring, we'll now have 17. So now if you make the mistake of using 12 in front and 14 behind, this particular body size will find it very difficult or impossible to wear the trousers, because the trousers will not go past this area. So at this point, this is where we'll stop. Then in our next video, we're going to show you how to take the crouch measurement without having to use this technique I use. But trust me, this is the most reliable technique, and it's what I use 80 to 90% of the time while measuring my clients. Thank you very much. Alright, welcome back. My name still remains Uncle Tonaz, and in this other video I'll be showing you how to take the crouch measurement without having to use method 1. It's quite simple and easy, but it's not as reliable as the first one, the one. So what we do in this other technique is keep your tape at the client's high waist, and you measure all the way to the base of the chair. If you look at it closely, we still have 12. Remember, in our first video, our front crouch gave us 12. But now, with this technique, you cannot get the back crouch. So what works if I want to use this technique is, for the back crouch, I increase it by 3 inches or 4 inches, depending on how I examine the client and how full the client could be from behind. There are situations you can increase it to 5 or 6, but it's advisable that you either make it a big, then you can shape it later, than it being too small. But in most cases, the difference between the front crouch and the back crouch is usually 3 inches. Thank you very much. My name is Trouser.